Every single month I go through a bunch of Pokemon cards that are great to pick up to either add into your collection or to invest in. But today we'll be taking a trip down memory lane and seeing if I made some good choices and see where they are now. So a lot of these videos we'll be taking a look at today. We're going to review one of my old videos. We're going to see what I suggested in that video, and we're going to see where they are now, about at least 6 months on. We want to make sure there's a decent amount of time for these cards to move in value, whether or not they went up or went down. But today we'll be seeing how well I predicted some of these. So let's get into it. So we have the first one here. Wow, this was, I look like I'm in darkness there. So we have one here that was, don't miss picking up these Pokemon cards before they rise. This one was a 6-month-old video. So we can see today where they were then, and we're going to see where they are now and go from there. So let's take a look. Let's make this full screen so I can see my face. It's kind of like Inception, but it's going to be quite interesting to see, of course, where these cards are, you know, back when they were back then. So let's take a look at this one. So the first one we have here is the Celby. So this was back then when I talked about the Celby. This one is from Fusion Strike. So this video was 6 months ago. We're looking at here $26 for this card. So that's quite interesting. We're going to see where it is now and see whether or not it has gone up or down. So 6 months ago it was $26, and now 6 months later this card is $30. So it's gone up a little bit. It hasn't really gone up a huge amount. It did actually go up quite high recently at like $50, so that would have been good, right? That would have been like double your value. But this card has dropped quite a bit over the past month or so. I mean, this card has fallen actually quite a substantial amount to get back to where it once was. So it's quite interesting. If you would have bought it 6 months ago, you're still up on your money, of course. But if you would have bought it and then sold it when it was at that 50, you would have made nearly double your money, which is pretty good. I do expect the Celby to go back up over time, but that's quite an interesting one to look at. All right, let's carry on and let's see what else we got coming up. So we'll go to the next card. So obviously I'm talking about the Celby in where it once was, and expected to continue to climb. All right, next up we have on the list is the Intellion V from VMAX, from Fusion Strike. So this one here is $23 6 months ago, and it had recently dropped, as you can see here. This is going to be an interesting one. So the Intellion VMAX now is $23. So it's pretty much exactly what it was 6 months ago when I did the video, of course. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's actually, quantities GFA is actually higher than it once was. This card hasn't really moved a huge amount. So it's probably not a great one, but it has potential. We started to see a lot of the old arts now 6 months on start to go up, especially the non-big chase cards. So this is definitely one to keep a lookout for. But that's quite interesting. Hasn't really done much. Fair enough. Let's carry on. Let's see what else I talk about and go through this video. Obviously, as you can see, it was $23. It had recently dropped from 27. Bear in mind this video was 6 months ago, so we're looking around about January, February time. And let's take a look at the next one. We got the Mew V from Fusion Strike this time. So again, this one here, we're looking at $27 when I did this video back then, and at the time it had fallen from 32. So as we can see, it has fallen from 32 down to that 27. So again, this is going to be a card which I do expect to bounce back, or has bounced back, and maybe gain more value. As you can see, look, I look at that over the past year, this card was 45 and had fallen down to where it is, well, where it was back then, sorry, at 27. So let's see where it is now. So Mew V 6 months on, we're looking at $37. So it has gone up over the past 6 months. But here's the interesting thing. Again, this was another card that was $60. So again, if you'd have bought it 6 months ago and maybe sold it at that 60, you would have done very well. Of course, we're not always looking about selling, but that is one potential. But it has actually gone up, even though we're starting to see a big drop. We go back over the last 6 months, and yeah, you know, it's quite interesting to see what's happened with this card. But when I talked about it, it had fallen from the high of the 40s, and now we're looking at pretty, you know, that's a big drop over the past month, as we've seen a lot of these cards fall, but still up since the last time I did the video. All right, let's take a look at the next one. So that was the Mew. Then what is the next OR we talk about? Our next card, we talk about the Beedrill OR from Astral Radiance, $18 here. We saw it fall a little bit. I think one of the reasons why I picked this card is because I think the artwork's very good and a lot of people do like it. So when I looked back, it had fallen from 34 down to where it once was in 18. So that's quite interesting to see the fall there. So it's going to be interesting to see where it is 6 months on from that at $18. Okay, right, let's look at the Beedrill now from Astral Radiance, 32. So it's gone up from 18 to $32, so nearly double in value, and it has fallen a little bit as well from its highs of nearly $50. So this card was really high at $50. If you bought it at 18 and went up to 50, you were doing incredibly well. But it has actually fallen a little bit, but still nearly double what you would have paid 6 months prior when I made that video. That's really interesting. Again, we're starting to see a lot of these arts and these cards start to fall off a little bit in value, which is quite interesting, even though they did reach insane highs. But still, Beedrill, it would have been a good one to pick up earlier in the year and doing very well. Right, let's keep it going. Let's see what I pick next. So that was the Beedrill, doing relatively well. I actually got a card from Unified Minds, the Alolan Exeggutor. So $52 for this one, and as you can see, I saw it and then saw the big dip and saw the big drop. But overall, it was actually up higher than what it was prior, but it had the drop. This would be an interesting one. So this will be an interesting one because I don't normally cover Sun and Moon that much. So let's see where it is now. All right, so we've got the Alolan Exeggutor. Where is it now? $50. So $2 less than where it once was. It's quite interesting though, because over the past 3 months it had climbed. So there you go. So 6 months ago is where it was, or roughly 6 months ago when I did the video, and it dropped. So it did actually continue to drop when I was talking about it, because at the time when I did the video, it was dipping. As you can see, it was starting going down. So it continued to go down, but it has bounced back up to where it once was, which is pretty good to see. Of course, it's not going to go back up to where it was when I did the video. I saw that drop, and it did continue to fall. It fell from 65 down to as low as 42, 43, and is now starting to trickle back up to where it was when I did the video. So kind of break even on that one. No real losses or gains to be had. As you can see there, we can see what happened. Right, let's carry on. Next, we've got another card. We've got the Boswall coming in. From Unbroken Bonds. This was another Sun and Moon that had been falling. Be interesting to see if this one, like the Exeggutor, kept falling, but this one did fall. And as you can see here, it actually kept climbing up and then started to fall. So did it continue? So it was 35 6 months ago. Where is it now? 35. So exactly the same. So it looks like this one's on the way back up. Maybe it dropped. So yeah, it continued to drop. Not as much as the other one, but it did actually continue to drop. As you can see, so when I started looking at the card, it did keep falling and then it started to trickle back up. So maybe it's on the uptick now to try and get back to where it once was. So again, this is another card where not really much has happened. So there was no losses or gains to be had, as you can see here. So it did continue to fall a little bit more and has now started to trickle back up, of course, which is quite interesting. All right, let's take a look at another card. So we've got another art here from Cosmic coming in with the old Guzzlord. This one was falling from 52 down to 46, but overall it was higher than it was the year prior. So it'd be interesting to see if this one continued to drop or did it bounce back. Ooh, could be risky, this one. So we've got the Guzzlord. It was $46 when I talked about it. Where is it now? 50. So it's gone up a little bit. It has ticked up a little bit. It has actually climbed quite a bit over the past 3 months. Let's take a look. So I think it was falling. Yeah, so it did continue to fall. So when I did it, I was looking at 55 and it did actually continue to fall all the way down to like in the high 30s, 38, 39, and is now bouncing back up to pretty much where it once was. So you would have made a little bit of money there, but pretty much the same. But it has bounced back, which was pretty good, luckily there. So yeah, as you can see, it did continue to fall, and then it did bounce back up. So it has recovered quite well. Next up, we've got the Icerider Calyrex V from Chilling Reign. This is going to be another card here. $13. That's relatively cheap, of course, for like a nice art from Chilling Reign, Chilling Pain, of course. And, you know, I go through and I talk about it continuing to fall. And as you can see, it was $22 and it did drop to as low as 13, so nearly half in value. All right, Chilling Reign's been doing relatively well. Let's see how well this card's done. All right, Icerider Calyrex V, it was about $13. Where is it now? 20. So it has actually nearly doubled in value. That's actually pretty good going. So yeah, over the past 3 months, it was around $13 up to 20. We go back over the last 6 months and it was plodding along at that $13. We go over the past year and it's actually recovered incredibly well. It's actually higher than it was a year ago. So this would have been one which you would have made a good amount of money on if you'd picked up around $13, because it has started to climb. So that was a good call by me. I'll take that one. So yeah, it did bounce back relatively well from that $13 now at $20. So that's actually a pretty good one to sit on. What have we got up next? We've got the Flexing on Us Tornadus. So again, $20. Had actually dropped from 34-ish and has now gone down to 20. Let's see where it is now. So Tornadus Flex on Us was $20. Now it's 30. So this one's gone up by 50% over the past few months. We go back 6 months and we can see where it was. So yeah, it was plodding along when I did the video and now it's started to climb very well. We go over the past year and I bet we can see the regrowth. There we go. High as it was been over the past year. So Tornadus, Chilling Reign, Sword and Shield, doing very well. So this one would have gained you 50%. All right, let's keep it going. It's been really interesting so far. Then we got the Blissy V from Chilling Rain. Had dropped down to $17. Hadn't dropped by much, but then we look back, it actually dropped by nearly 50% in value over the year. So had actually dropped quite a bit. So see where the Blissy would be. So we're looking at $17. All right, Blissy coming in. Chilling Rain, we're looking at 25. So it was 17, now 25. So we've seen some gains upon that Blissy. We go over the last 6 months and we've seen it has dropped a little bit, obviously, from the high as 29, nearly 30. But over the past year, this Blissy is still the highest it has been over the past year. So this one would have gained you a little bit of money, a little bit of value. So the Blissy would have been a really good pickup. All right, what other cards we got coming up? We got the Noivern from Evolving Skies. I would guess this one's probably gone up. But where you're looking at, I would assume this one's gone up. So this one did fall from $28 down to $23. That was 6 months ago, of course. And yeah, we're going to see, I mean, do I show? I think I do show. There we go. So we show the past year, it went from 38 down to 22. So it had fallen nearly 50% in value back when I did it 6 months ago. So 23. All right, where is it now? So we've got the Noivern V, $23. We're now looking at $40. So this one's jumped up quite significantly, nearly doubled in value here, which is really good. It was at 44, 45, so it would have doubled in value. That's insane. That's actually crazy. So over the past 6 months, we've seen this card really boom. Over the past year, incredible. Absolutely incredible. So this would have been a great pickup for you to pick up at like $23 6 months ago. Beautiful artwork. I think it's one of the reasons why I selected this card. And Evolving Skies has just been popping off. And this is a prime example. So yeah, done very well. Did drop, and now it's higher than it once was. Very, very impressive. And then finally, the last card I go through is the Dillon from Evolving Skies. This one's $14. That was 6 months ago. It had been falling. Not the most popular art, of course, from Evolving Skies. Not a huge fan favorite, and you know, it's not an evolution, but it has been falling. Well, it had fallen at the time. You know, we've seen that card drop, you know, not by much, 18 to 14, which isn't really a big drop, of course, but it is still a drop over that 3 month period. And I expect it to go up because obviously Evolving Skies has been doing relatively well. But when I compare it over the year prior to it, we're looking, it was $28, so it had fallen 50% in value over that year period. So has it bounced back with the boom of Evolving Skies? All right, so Dillon, it was $14 and it is now $20. So it has actually gone up a little bit. It did actually reach the high as $26, $27 over the past 6 months. We can see it did go up and it's starting to drop, of course. Then we go back over the past year and it is doing relatively well. And that's what I wanted to see, right? I wanted to see how well cards like this would do. Not necessarily the evolutions, but all the old arts that, you know, aren't really the most popular are doing relatively well, even in a set like Evolving Skies. Of course, everything in Evolving Skies is going to do very well. But this one would have made you value as well. So there you have it, guys. That was a trip down memory lane at a video I made at the beginning of the year to see where the cards are now. And actually quite a few of them have actually gained a significant amount of value. Pretty much stuff from the Sword and Shield era has done very well. You know, when I covered things like the Celby, the Mew, you know, things from Chilling Rain, things from Evolving Skies, they've done relatively well. The cards from Sun and Moon, they did actually dip, but they continued to dip. They were on a downward trend. They kept going down, and then they bounced back up to where they once were. So pretty much most of the cards we looked for either was exactly the same as they were 6 months ago, or they have gone up by about 50% or more in value, especially in the Sword and Shield era. So they're doing very, very well. So overall, hey, look, sometimes I might get it right, sometimes I might get it wrong. Looked like today was a pretty good winner. I will be doing videos like this in the future of me covering like seal product, of looking back and see what I've suggested and see whether or not there were good suggestions back in the day. But hey, we'll keep it going with cards to pick up and buy. And on top of that, I will be reviewing how well I predicted a lot of these cards. But if you made this far in the video and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button, make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you want to see more videos like this where I review my own predictions to see whether or not they were right or wrong? It was quite nice going back down a trip down memory lane, and also seeing myself was kind of bizarre, but it is still quite fun. And if you want to know what cards to pick up right now, then make sure to click the video on the screen. But that's it from me, guys, in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.